And the discussion. Taking place. In the reoccupied Berlin Biennale 7.
In the reoccupied Biennale 7.
That is newly formed. As a horizontal structure. Will be conducted as an assembly.
It's very packed.
Carrie, Falk are mediating and helping us. Discussing art and agency in the information age will also address tremendous problems that activists face, such as WikiLeaks, and in this we want to honor Bradley Manning enforcing governmental transparency. This book is being presented on the dales of the trial of Pussy Riot, and we see our meeting as a continuation of the worldwide protest against their detainment and political prisoners in general. We originally invited Peter Weibel, not only because he made this publication possible, because he is a member of Austrian actionism, which can be seen as early form of activist art, and because he is a hacker. He cracks the establishment to enable complex developments essential for contemporary art. We invited him originally to share his experience of resistance against the dangerous paths of sub-systematic zombification.
Not so quick.
And the programming of environments evolutionary for art. But he, for the first time since years, has cough, which is very natural because he spends tremendous amount of time in the airplanes, which harms human breath. Autonomous University will survive without a traditional setting of prominent speakers and is even by destiny a space for practicing horizontality. We love Peter Weibel and send him our deepest solidarity and strong wishes of soonest recovery. To quote Peter Weibel, but who but the artist can undertake to give shape to the world and thereby change it? We're here with Tatiana Volkova, curator and art historian from Moscow, who initiated the festival MediaImpact, which took place complementary to the last Moscow biennial, curated by Peter Weibel. And Alexander Delfinov, artist, writer, activist from Moscow and from Berlin. Marina Naprushkina, artist, activist. You can see her wonderful works in this horizontalized biennial. And Krisa Dampatsi, Greek artist and activist who we fortunately were able to welcome in Moscow MediaImpact Festival. After this small presentation, we will talk all together about the issues that are now on the agenda, namely art and agency in the information age. And also one of the points of the agenda is ideas and brainstorm about how the institution of art in the future can serve horizontality and enable gatherings without collaborating with the corrupt governments, and how can we protect activists from the dangerous issue of privatization. We'll open up the assembly for more topics for the agenda and discuss them. Everybody can go on stand.
Hello, so I'm Tatiana Volkova and I'm curator of this festival that we plan to make a regular event each 2 years. And this book is important for us because it's not only a catalog of a local festival, but as this festival took place in September, just 2 months before mass protests in Moscow, in Russia began, and we work on the catalog for parallel in winter and spring 2012, it meant that we should have elaborated the concept of the book from the festival catalog into a book on activist art that reflects upon transformation of role and function of contemporary artists within our radical social and political changes. And this topic, in fact, is really very interesting and crucial now, as I speak for each historian, artist, curator, activist, because this function and this role has been dramatically changing, and this global protest movement that we see in the whole world, it has very typical characters that are being transformed into each, like, Occupy movement. For example, in Moscow in May we had a real Occupy camp in Moscow, in the center of the city, for a week, and it's really very long for our country, and it was surprisingly long and something incredible, because it was mass protest, big rally, big meeting devoted to an inauguration of Putin, and there was a lot of provocations from police and very cruel repressions, and that caused real radicalization of protest that turned into Occupy camp, when about 2,000 of people were walking around the city. Each 2 hours they were arrested and took to prison, and new people came, and it was for 5 days until all the prisons were full and all the police cars were left. And after that they left alone this camp for a week, and this life of this camp, how it was developing, it was surprisingly remade the structure of New York Occupy Wall Street processes. There was civil camp, there was lectures, there was musicians and exhibitions, and there was assembly. Assembly appeared and it still exists in Moscow, because after that the Occupy camp was cruelly destroyed by the police, and then it was moving throughout the city, and now there is no camp itself, but the assembly is still working, and each evening people meet and work as a model of assembly, decide different questions, make statements, etc. And so it's really very interesting how it's all happening. And in fact, what I would like to stress now, the idea of this changing of transformation of role and function of contemporary artists in contemporary society. On this book there is also a Skype conference with Mike Bonanno from the Yes Men that we had in October. It was during our festival, and it was 2 months before our mass protest began. Sorry. So and there was an Occupy Wall Street process in developing, and I asked Mike, but he told that they take active part in this Occupy Wall Street process, and I asked, but what is your concrete project there? And they said, we don't have any concrete project. I asked this question for 3 times because I was like old model thinking curator who wanted to understand about concrete project, its name, its shape, its concept, how it was implemented, and he tried to explain that I don't understand. We are just sitting around with people, having brainstorms, a lot of ideas arise, some of them are realized, some of them are not, and there is no authorship at all. And each participant is a media artist who creates a media project aimed to attract more attention to mass media and to involve more people into protests. And so it's not our project, it's real common work. And after that, just one sentence, after that in half a year we had the same, absolutely the same situation in our Occupy Abai, so-called, because there is a statue of Abai, a poet. And when artists absolutely shared their monopoly on creating images and concepts, and was working in assemblies and giving lectures and working on camp budgets and so on and so on. It's a real, I think it's a fascinating process that it's spreading everywhere, and it's a real radical change in this, in traditions of contemporary art schemes. You want to say? No?
No, this means I agree with you.
Okay, but shall you please comment on it? Did you take part in by Wall Street at that time?
Yes, I was there from September. Yeah.
Did you work with the YESMAN?
I work with the YESMAN presently on a project in the YES Lab, which develops a lot of different projects. You come there to develop different protests that are similar to YESMAN, but I work on a project called Rev Talks, which has live stream and voice conversations with revolutionaries around the world. But I've never worked on one of their YESMAN's protests, but we do develop with them, and we cross-pollinate a lot at Occupy Wall Street.
Can I respond to your statement with a quote from to continue what Tatiana just said about the fact that monopoly on images has been lost, the borders between art, politics, science, and technology also descended. And I would like to quote Peter Weibel, who speaks about regimening in the art context. I think it's actually kind of proves what Tatiana just said about the YESMAN. He was talking about the fact that the machines were enabling the Industrial Revolution, and that's why art has been in the phase of production. Now, I quote, "It is possible to trace the analogous movement in the media. First we had visual art, then visual culture. In the early 80s we had visual media, but today we no longer speak about them. In the age of distribution of information, we speak about social media, and this is the point. Duchamp was an artist in the age of production. Ready-made means made, produced. Today, I don't have to produce anymore. Although Duchamp criticized painting, he still produced a certain kind of anti-object. He showed a produced object but denied its function. Today we speak about Hans Haake, who, on the contrary, shows an object in a particular social context. He was a pioneer of what happens today, in the age of distribution. He is a meta du genre. But the true artist of today just delivers information as a kind of meta-Kaage. Now we understand the position of Bradley Manning. Bradley Manning has not produced anything. He took the information and distributed it. So, when we discuss a possibility of agency in the age of distribution of information, we mean precisely what Bradley Manning has done, although this is just one of the models. So Peter Weibel invited Bradley Manning to work at ZHIR, and he would be able to. He would probably have free technology, access to everything, and a stipend. So it's an interesting step that somebody like Bradley Manning, who has not seen himself as an artist, hereby has been declared to be an artist.
So I would like to just comment on other end of our discussion from Bradley Manning to Pussy Riot, and to stress on the fact that you see on the cover of our book, it's not like the portraits, but it's a picture made by artist Alexandra Galkina, inspired by Pussy Riot images, of course. And I must say that our festival ended in October, and first Pussy Riot performance was in November. But working on this book, we should have included, of course, them, although strictly speaking, that they were not the participants of the festival, but making this catalog as a book on activist art, it was impossible to ignore this fact, because Pussy Riot really became the emblematic figures of mass protests in Russia of winter and spring and now summer, and I don't know how long it will take more. And there are a lot of articles, researches on also there is a huge international support campaign of Pussy Riot group everywhere in each country. In Berlin, as you know, here Joulia and Marina made big action in support of Pussy Riot, and with Sasha also in Moscow, we made a Pussy Riot bus that came on the ring road in Moscow, like a mobile exhibition, and there was tons of police who guided us and not allowing us to stop and shouting at us and these microphones. It was just crazy. So, in fact, I would like to say that Pussy Riot it's a real, very complicated phenomenon as an art piece, as an activist project, as a political action, as a musical, also, and punk rock, and I don't know what else, as a feminist, also community. So it's really a very complicated structure, although it seems to be very simple, and maybe its geniality is in its simplicity and also complicated content. And also this punk rock prayer in Christ the Savior Cathedral that they were arrested for. It seems like a political action, more political action, because the song was Mary Virgin chased Putin out. Still, there is a strong visual side of this action, and musical, and a lot of feminist, and a lot of contents. And they say that they gave voice and color to voiceless and colorless protests, Russian mass protests. And it's really very important in context of our discussion today about transformation of a role of an artist who lost his monopoly in creating images and became a catalyst of the social processes of radical democratization, and a mediator and a catalyst. And in the case of Pussy Riot, not only a catalyst but also a kind of a hero who comes out to streets alone against the system and sacrifice himself in saying of possible long-term social transformations. And what's really important that Pussy Riot as an art as an art project still it really had impressive media impact as none Russian art project before. So it just split Russian society in two parts, and not only like art community or feminist community or I don't know punk rock community, but real conservative society who were never interested in art and culture and so on. Although also international society, everybody know about Pussy Riot. Somebody can not know about Medvedev or Putin, but Pussy Riot it became a symbol of representation of Putin Russia now for the world. And in this context, I would like to say that probably this is a real first, I don't know, at least Russian art project artist who really managed to realize the dream of all the avant-gardists of all the times and to delete the border between art and reality, to come across this border and to make art and real life the same field. And it's really very important.
Can I respond to this? As you see, this hero is an anonymous hero. And the fact that it's not about certain individuals who did this audacious action, I'm not sure how to use it, but this very important intervention into the collaboration between the Orthodox Church and the KGB-driven state, but just also the solidarity that Pussy Riot receives from all over the world, possibly is based on this replaceable image of like the power of no matter who. And I think it corresponds to the state of our consciousness today that develops from rather towards the direction of cooperation instead of competition. And I think that in the heart of the transition that we're experiencing now lies a shift in consciousness from the modern trace of experiencing ourselves as somehow connected. And that is how Bradley Manning also was writing in his chat logs to his friend Zinnia. I feel connected to everyone as they were a distant family.
I would like to comment on Joulia's work because it's really very, very important. What she said about an anonymous concept of the group, because in fact we know that real activists and real anarchists they act anonymously, because as soon as you have your name, yes, as soon as you have authorship, a kind of vertical hierarchy arise, and all these copyright issues and so on, and it's not like true activism at all. And it's an important question here inside Berlin Biennale, created by St. Petersburg faction of Voina Group, who in fact they started together with Nadezhda Tologonikov from Pussy Riot, who is now in prison. They started this group together, then they split it into parts in 2009, and this St. Petersburg faction, whose co-curators of Berlin Biennale, they really started to work with. They started to quarrel between Moscow faction and St. Petersburg faction for a brand of Voina Group. So it was a real shame on activism, activist processes quarreling on a brand. And then when Pussy Riot appeared, in fact, nobody knew that they come from Moscow faction. For example, even me, who has worked with Moscow. First with the Total Voina, then with Moscow faction for a long time, I didn't know that Pussy Riot is Nadia's project. And it was released by the police when they put them into prison, and everybody knew the names. And the idea, when they appeared, I took an interview by Skype with them, because they understood that they would speak to me. I would identify the voice, so we were chatting. And I was asking about the principle of anonymity, and they said that yes, it's the main principle because of this principle of changeability. So each one can be changed by another one. There is no leader that can leave and the group will be destroyed, because each participant can be easily replaced, and the group can develop the whole life without not any, and none of them can really try to fight for some more copyright or something, or brand or something. Yes, and it's a real pity that it didn't come out, because of very clever police in Russia. There was a very beautiful idea, and there is not as much analogs in international art history. Maybe Guerrilla Girls, also Karlsruhe, some other, but not as many groups who really managed to hide their personality and remain anonymous, and really to create a horizontal structure.
We have to learn from them and be careful, because the same happened with the anonymity of Brady Manning, who was overwhelmed by what was happening to him, and he was very lonely, and because he's gay, he's been chatting with Adrian Lemo, another gay activist, and unfortunately that Adrian Lemo happened to be an FBI agent, so this is how it came up. But Adrian Lemo actually forced Brady Manning to confess what he has done by telling him that he can trust Adrian because he is actually a priest, and also because he's a journalist who has this ethical obligation of secrecy. But to talk about the parallels between those Russian activists and these technological activists, we definitely can see that both of them have been working on reduction of total conspiratorial power via unstructured attacks on links between conspiratorial elements to separate them.
please, could you speak both a little bit louder, because your English pronunciation is so hard that even for me, sitting beside you, it's difficult for me to understand. So if you speak just a little louder, maybe it's easier to understand, because the words are not very, know what I mean.
Okay, but actually we finished. Maybe you can ask some questions. Maybe you have some question that you couldn't just identify. Sorry.
So we're going to open it up to questions or statements or comments, and Falk will take stack on who wants to speak, and he'll make a list. Does this group want to know the hand signals so that they can interact? Yes? Okay, so the hand signals are this. This is positive feedback. And this positive.
It's just positive.
Yeah.
You agree? You find it good?
Just good.
This is negative. This is medium. And this is rather extreme, but it's a block.
And this is respect the house.
And this is out of frame. And this is a proposal.
And this is shut up.
It means you're going on too long.
This means you respond to the
That's a
previous
point of
statement.
information.
I would like to add something. An assembly has some functions like the hand signs, and that could lead or assembly should lead to the possibility that everybody can speak, have the same voice. And for that, it's really important that everybody looks at his own time consumption if he speaks, so that everybody on the stack can speak and can open her voice and give their opinion into the middle of the assembly. That's really important, I think.
Yes, for inclusivity, because we want everyone to be included. So, yes, thank you. So Falk will take stack on any comments. Did you want to speak?
No. Maybe I should say you were talking about the mask anonymous of the group, but the opposite example is the female who don't use masks and also are very famous.
But there are also other people who are famous and who don't use masks.
Yeah, most of them.
You know,
Yes, of course we
the
talked about.
90s,
Yes, sure.
they put the gorilla mask.
Gorilla girls. Yeah. Yes, of course, and Pussy Riot always appealed to them.
Yes,
Because they're feminists, also
so,
feminist group.
Don't hesitate, please. It's not a podium and audience situation, but an open assembly.
Well, I missed the beginning, but yeah, I would like to add that I'm personally not so convinced about this anonymous concept, because it can be more dangerous than doing something with individuality. For example, since years in Cuba, there's this activist, Joulia Strauss. She is writing a blog about daily life in Cuba, and she decided to don't do this anonymous, because it's important for her to be in public, and because she's a famous person, hard stuff can't happen to her so easy, no? And yeah, I think it's quite important to also understand this point, that if you are too anonymous, it can also be dangerous, because there's no framework in society which can protect you.
Okay.
Could I also make a question?
Yeah. Anything. Good dance.
Thank you very much for that, for this great very interesting to hear that, and especially your notion that different spheres are going in together, like the sphere of art is going into maybe the sphere of science and how that is interconnected. It was very, very interesting to media impact you're using as the title of your exhibition, at least in Germany, and maybe it's also for the US discourse of the case, could be a real marketing expression. For instance, in Germany, big publishing companies like Axel Springer, they would call their sales department MediaImpact. So I was interested if that's on purpose, or is there any relation? They would sell the space on their web pages and call it MediaImpact because classical brands are willing to spend a lot of money to use that space. So I was interested in that connection.
You know what? Russian title of the festival is strictly translated as media attack. But we choose this MediaImpact translation.
It's a different thing.
Yeah, I understand it's different meanings, not different things. Of course, it was not a purpose. You know what? Each using of the word media now is very much commercial and like fashion. Still, if we deal with new activist art, it always deals with media. So there is no like, you cannot privatize. Yes, you cannot make private some sphere like media by publishing agency or somebody. This word belongs to art as well as somebody else. I don't know. Maybe it sounds in Germany not like in Russian. So in Russian it is more, it's more aggressive. Media attack is more aggressive than MediaImpact. Maybe we should have checked that.
I think it's nice because at least in Germany there are at least two interpretations immediately occurring in your brain. For example, every media theoretician would never think about mass media at that moment. You would think about the apparatuses of scripts, of storage and replication, while in America everybody would think about media, possibly social media. So immediately you address the discussion about the role of the social media in the world of the ongoing global revolution.
Of course, it comes from tactical media term. Tactical media is a very important term that appeared in 90s, but it was more like theoretical here, more like a local web area, and now it's really became like key position of the social and political processes.
So tactical media is the Russian word.
Tactical media, no. It's a term invented by Dutch activists.
Such as
in 1996, there was a festival in Amsterdam called Tax 5 Minutes. And tactical media, the definition is media of crisis and opposition. But it was not so evident.
Could you repeat that? Because he couldn't hear you.
Media of crisis and?
So, as media of crisis, criticism and opposition. Opposition. Yeah. So it means medias that are that can be used by everybody, like blogs, social networks, photo and video in mobile phones. So everybody can make its own media statement. And it's very important because the tactical media is media not of observing, not of monitoring. It's not like journalism, yes. It's media of participating. It's very important feature of tactical media, that it's media of participants of the process. And this term appeared in the 90s, but it has spread now, because now this tactical media, you know this term, Facebook revolution, Twitter revolution, yes, what was going on from Egypt to Russia was really basically made through tactical media, through social networks, through blogs and so on. And one of the theoreticians of tactical media, Eric Kudenberg, he had just made a book, research analyzing the implementation of this tactical media into these mass protests through the world. And he also makes another term, effect of radical multiplication. It means that now each process receives this effect of radical multiplication made by tons of mobile phones, photos and videos, yes, placed in web. And that's how Occupy Wall Street started, when a lot of people reposted video with the cruel incident with the women in demonstration. That's how protests in Russia started, when a lot of people posted photos and videos from unfair procedure of elections. Although it was all the time the same, it was all the time unfair, and everybody knew that. But when everybody saw it in its own computer, tons of these images, how it worked, so just everybody came to speak. That's how this tactical media works now. It's like it's a central term.
I have a question. What's the relation of what's happening here to what's happening in Russia? I don't want to be on. So what's the relation of what's happening here to what's happening in Russia? I mean, Berlin is basically a PR project by the German government, paid for by the German taxpayer, and the art process in the city is the same, like a tourist attraction, basically. This is also what we can see here. I mean, you see tourists from all over the world coming here, taking photographs of everything, taking it home. But what's the relation of what's happening here to what's happening in Russia?
Thank you. For me, personally, I'm from Occupy Berlin, and there is a relation to every country in the world, because, or to almost every country in the world, because the system, I call it, we know it as capitalism, does not depend anymore to any political system. So it doesn't matter if we are in a democratic country or in a communist country. It doesn't matter anymore. The capitalism is everywhere, and this system makes a lot of bad things.
Also good things.
Please?
Also good things.
Yeah, but if people dying because we throw our food away, and that's because of the system, how it works, then it's not a good thing, and we could change that. We should change that immediately. And that's the same problem we have in Russia or in Berlin, or in Germany. That's
yeah, but again, what's the relation of what's happening here to what's happening in Russia?
Then I don't get a question. So,
what means solidarity?
You mean we have the same questions in the whole world?
Interesting.
You don't think so?
How does it help? I mean,
Yeah, okay.
How does it help to not question?
Huh?
How does it help to not question?
That's not so clever answer, I would say.
Really?
It's evaluation.
But if our governments somehow, have a relationship to each other, for example, Germans and Russians, why people, normal citizens, shouldn't communicate and discuss the problems?
Germany and Russia have very good relations. Germany relies on Russian gas and all sorts of raw materials, and everything's fine.
Yeah, and who owns the money? Who owns the money?
Emancipation, emancipation is a word that is around since 20,
So how do you
30 years, sorry, man, finished the thought. Then we talk about not dependency, but to choose how the relation is, and this dependency on gas is being created. It is that renewable energies are blocked, and since many, many years. That is atomic power, now they're going on to gas also. But renewable energies, they are still in the monopoly of the whole energy system. So that is not a good relationship. It serves not the horizontal hierarchy, but more a hierarchy to some people who get rich. I mean, it's not funny that somebody like Gerhard Schröder becomes that's so important in the Gazprom after being the Chancellor of Germany. This is corruption. This is officially corruption. And that is a relationship between Germany and Russia.
For the relation between these both countries, there's nothing fine. Our Chancellor, actually Merkel, is not allowed to say anything about the protests and the handling of the protests by the Russian government in Russia. And why? Because we need the gas. How can you say the relationship is good? That's not good if you cannot say to them, stop that.
Yeah, I also want to say, you always have to ask what kind of relationship is there. Is there an economic relationship, financial relationship? We live in a world where finances, economy, even politics is quite globalized, no? But the societies aren't. So if you ask where's the point to come together, it's always it has to start with personal networking, no? So people from Russia can come in contact with people from here or from all over the world, and this process of globalizing societies just started, I think, because globalization shouldn't be just for economics and financial systems. So it's a communication process.
Ladies first.
I just wanted to say we work on this, and there is a process of, it's complicated, because the middle class in Germany doesn't go to the streets and demonstrates, not yet. Or even does, you see, slowly. Of course there are enormous differences, but there are ideas that unite us, and there is a lot of similarity. And if it would be not good to try to build up the network, it wouldn't have happened. I think it's the immunity of Earth itself talking through us in all different countries and make us connected. And it's of course not about comparing the situations and say it's the same, because not. It's about forging the chain of equivalence between different processes in different countries, considering the context and sharing tactics. We are planning to do the MediaImpact Festival, to come to the second point of our agenda, in Moscow in 1 year's time, and we want to bring Occupy from Berlin to Moscow, of course. And does anybody have any ideas about the form or the concept of the future media impact?
At first he is on the stack.
Yeah, true.
Man with the hat.
Okay. I just wanted to say also, Putin gave congratulations to Frau Merkel about how she's handling democracy as they stopped Blockupy. This means we have the same problem. We are not allowed to be more than 7 people in the street talking about politics. Yeah? We can be talking about dissous or something, and you could be 100, but talking about politics means 7 and then you stop. But we are asking for a place for the people, that people can come and go and to get part of this the political process. I mean, all you hear is each 4 years you have the decision with the cross, but this is not. Everyone knows that this is no influence in the special topics. You never be allowed to have a relationship to the government. So in this case, we have the same problem. It's everywhere in the world. You stop to be too political. This is not democracy.
So should we talk about?
As nobody is more on stake, you can repeat your question, maybe.
So we are talking about the horizontalization of an institution, such as this one, for example. You said that it is a governmentally supported situation here, and it is there not to just boycott it or join it. It's also there to do a surgery on it. And that's what we've been trying to do with the Berliner occupiers and with the New Yorker Wall Street Museum occupiers in the past 2 weeks, working on the horizontalization, on the real horizontalization of this institution, opening up transparency of budget and joining processes of the institution itself beyond biennial, proposing horizontalization and transparency for the future of the existence of this institution. And that's why we're also interested in proposals for the next MediaImpact, because especially in the situation of these limitations of the freedom of Assemblea, an institution that was previously an art institution can be used for assembleas, but without the, within the rejection and with the respect of the rejection of the usual institutional framework of these institutions. So it's like institutional interventions that are planned. Or it's a question to everybody, how this institution of the future can serve.
We Occupy Berlin, or parts of Occupy Berlin, want to make a new project now, and we call it the Global Change Factory. That means we want to reproduce this place here in Berlin in a big factory with open area where we can install working groups, flats, youth hostel, restaurant. That means we want to construct an economical structure where political discussions and activities can take place, but also we have to build up our own economic structures, because the system is not possible. They can't give us jobs. They can't give us angemessene employment or money. So we have to look that we build up a parallel system. This system will, of course, interact with the capitalistic system, because we need energy and money and so on. But we trying to make us independent so that we can construct horizontal structures in this factory. And this will also correspond to a global change farm. That means we want to construct places in the countryside where people can do agriculture and solar energy constructions or solar mobile constructions, that in the future we can transport agriculture products to the city and sell it in the Global Change Factory and cook it in the region, the Global Change Factory restaurant. That means only the protest on the streets is okay for on one hand, but it's frustrating because you can't see any forward. You can protest against injustice here and there and talk about hours and hours, but it doesn't change anything.
That's what we're saying. Yeah, exactly.
So what we need is a new system, and we have to build a new system now.
Yes, and that is exactly what is going on in Russia now. Also, maybe it is not as much articulated. Still, there are artists who just stopped working with these institutions at all. Stopped working with this vertical hierarchy. Yes. Hierarchy. Yeah. And build their own structure, horizontal structure with no leaders, no institutions, no huge budgets. No, you know that when there is a huge budget, a lot of additional problems arise. There is no room for art. There is room for these constructions, budgets, distributions of resources, and so on. It's a real, very old atavistic model that it's not working anymore. And new type of art that we are working with, it really requires another format of representations. It doesn't need these huge budgets, these huge spaces to construct, these walls, and to invest a lot of money and energy. It's really much more mobile, and that's what we are really working on now. It's another structure of our festival for the next year that will be not as it was a year before, when there was a huge exhibitions that we spent tons of time and energy and money, and it just went crazy. And when people came and there was a series of talks and discussions, me personally, I couldn't understand any word of what was going on, because I invested so much energy in these constructions of the exhibition that I just went crazy. And now we are not going to construct this huge exhibition or something. We are going to make a series of small mobile one-day exhibitions devoted to some thematical sections, plus screenings, plus workshops, plus debates. There won't be like huge opening one when everybody comes in beautiful dresses, and afterwards nobody comes and nobody is interested in anything. So we're going to have a series of events that will be equal to each other. Will have equal significance. So we really want to implement some new model of representation of art and debates in Russia.
So I completely agree with making farms and structures. We do this at Occupy Wall Street. We have farms, we have mutual aid where we're developing different financial structures. We have alternative banking where we're formulating different ways of banking, and actually there's different ways of banking here in Germany that are incredible models. But one thing that we're working on here at the Biennale is actually infiltrating the institution, and it's not just infiltrating the institution physically here, but infiltrating...
Which institution?
But it's also infiltrating the institution in ourselves and analyzing the way that we ourselves think in terms of these constructs, and being critical of ourselves within them, and being critical of ourselves aligning with hierarchical structures and serious patriarchal structures that we function in and have for many, many years. And it's very hard to, I call them GUIs, pull those GUIs out of ourselves and let them go. What? GUI, GUI, it's a tech term. Yeah. So, yeah.
From what I hear, the future sounds like we're going to build farms and use alternative energy, and there will be no bloody oil, no stinky gas, and sometimes we will build new institutions within the shell of the old ones if they will be prepared for the radical horizontality and transparency. Sometimes we won't.
Well, and it's also a job of reconstructing our own selves. We're not outside of this at all. In no way are we outside of it. We're inside all of it.
Totally. Everything else is
sadly.
But one thing, if there is the one little thought about resistance, then it's already enough to change the entire planet into the work of art, or, as Carrie already said, it is an artwork, making it more obvious.
Art is life. Life is art.
Life is art, especially after art has turned into reality, after this next step, after the reenactment. Art is now reality, it doesn't need the museums. But when art again turned into politics, which happened here, then of course automatically the planet becomes an organic artwork. Or, sorry, Carrie, it becomes obvious that the earth is organic artwork.
Thank you very much for that very important proposal, and I think that the challenge of building up the next media impact of Moscow is very important, so it needs a lot of practical efforts and actions towards it. And I'm not a farmer, so I can't contribute with growing crops in Brandenburg, I'm sorry for that. But I'm part of a Berlin art movement, and we're doing very hyper-capitalistic products for feeding back into art. So we are having a lovely product, which is a mixture between an energy drink and a coffee drink. We call it Existence, so it keeps you up. And we are very happy to contribute with an art product for that to build up the next
Sebastian?
I just want to point out that if you want to build a farm, there's already an existing effort in Spain called Karlsruhe. It's in the north of Barcelona, 50 kilometers north of Barcelona. So instead of spreading efforts, maybe it would be relevant to try to do as much as possible in this one place, because they're really looking for people, they're looking for forces. It's pretty big actually. I think they have something like 20 to 40 houses that they have. They have bought the land and they have some houses and stuff. I don't exactly know what they have. They haven't been there yet, but maybe someday, hopefully. So it's called Karlsruhe. You can check out their website, Karlsruhe.cat. It's in Catalonia. And I think it can be worth checking out if you want to put forces in common instead of spreading the community very thin.
I'd like to talk to so yeah, there are farms in Spain, there are farms in New York, but I think that one of the things about our structure is that at least at Occupy Wall Street is that it's node-based, which means that there are a lot of different orbs, and they need to be everywhere. And so localizing things is a very serious part of that, and not having all of this thing in one place. So we should have a garden everywhere, and a farm everywhere, and a solar panel everywhere, and yeah.
Open spaces.
Yeah.
Just wanted to add that we should thankful to have had his question to us, because it brought us back to question ourselves what we are doing here, and this is what I'm doing every time I'm coming here. So it's the most important thing, to rethink what we are doing. So you're inviting to ask yourself this question, because more often I come here, so deeper I dig into the background of all those questions, and the more I evolve together with people who are asking the same question. So this is an open process, and this is a different thing that usually doesn't happen in society. You see it in every talk show. It's an extreme opposite. It's not a process. It's a prefigured style of conversation that is very shallow. So, and it's a different kind of communication culture that we are learning. And I think it's the most important process people can spend their time on nowadays.
I just want to say something to that. I think, the community aspect of what we do is what you're talking about, kind of, and where it takes you is a really important place. And I've learned so much being here regarding that, living with other people that are different than me, and accepting them and loving them, no matter what, is not easy. And but it's a very profound experience, and it's one of the most, as you said, the most important things that we do. Yes. Thank you. Anyone else?
Would it be okay to ask you again? You brought this question, and maybe you do have.
Again,
maybe would it be okay to ask you again? I would like to ask you again a little bit. You brought this question, and sometimes it is you do have an answer also for yourself, and maybe it would be interesting to.
Well, first of all, the situation was of course impossible, so I tried to give some impulse to what's happening here. But at the same time, of course, I have lots of doubts about what's happening because, for many reasons. I mean, reality is as it is for some reason. And obviously it's I don't want to say good solution, but at least a feasible solution in a way. And for example, if I look at the title of the book, Media Impact, I see that you're trying to use art as media and you try to have impact. If I'm looking at impact, efficiency is for me a most important thing. So I don't have anything against big or against money or against whatever, if it has influence on things. And I doubt that the way you do things, it will have any influence on what's happening.
It already has.
It has in ourselves.
What about your German?
What about my German?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
In terms of communication.
Because I haven't learned German.
She's here for 1 month.
I'm sorry. You asked about this relationship, the international, what's wrong and everything is cool. It's not cool. As I mentioned, for example, there are projects now. If you imagine everything's fine in Germany, why would we need gas from Russia? If everything's fine here. Yeah, if it's all national here, they want to build a supralining, for like from Morocco, instead of having the energy here to support the houses, so they build up again another monopoly, and that is, if you just let them do it, okay, you just let them do it. But then you wouldn't need to ask anymore, what's the relationship between Morocco, Algeria, or whatever, There's certain maybe even information you don't have about the relationships they have. If you look at, Angela Merkel, amazing, she said, what you're doing there, and criticize the Americans, and then Americans open up a little bit the lid, and they said, well, actually, you got Secret Service in that thing, I don't know what you're complaining about. So then, we in Germany, the population got to know how much Germany is already involved in that war. And if I talk about Afghanistan, remember how it started? They wanted to have a line, a pipeline to Afghanistan. That might have been the major point to have this war. And that started with Russia. Then it took over, and now there's Germany involved in this war. So it's an international thing. You cannot just say, here, this the borders and we're national. It's just nonsense. That's for football, it's national.
At least, we are entering a difficult discussion here now, but at least I want to say something. I don't feel so uncomfortable with Germany. I mean, this is a super rich country which
Rich
has
in what?
what?
Rich in what?
And money.
What is it rich
That's
in?
all.
Rich in
What
money,
are riches?
but also rich in
What is wealth?
intelligence. I mean, like, this country has about 20% sustainable energy. Which other country has it?
Yeah. I would like to answer to that.
But
He actually knows
that was not Angela Merkel. So I just give you one.
At least
Angela Merkel pushing the atomic energy. She was pushing the atomic energy. Now the same. Wait, please.
Until she found out that it's good to stop it. Until she found out that it's good to stop it.
International discussion, please.
Well, I couldn't respond to him, couldn't I?
Yes, but he can't too. He's an energy expert.
Yes. I would like to answer and give you one small recommendation. Just one is, I had a job. I had a really good job. I earned a lot of money. I had a car from the company and so on. I quit it. You know why? Because with my taxes, with everything I'm doing in this system, the government and the capitalistic system will do anything in the world which makes people dying, hunger, and we lead wars, we take part of wars, and with my money, with my power I give in my work, I say not in my name anymore. Nothing is right. The other point is, to give you a little recommendation is, we have a theater show, a little show here, 1.5 hours today, and I would really recommend you, and you can see a little bit of these points I complain in this world. It's really interesting and made by one of the Occupy activists, really nice. You see the requisites.
Yeah, but what is the alternative? I mean, is there a better country that you can move to? Is there something you can improve?
That's the point. No. We have to change the world. We have to change that.
Let's finish this book presentation with this fantastic statement. Please don't fuck it up with something negative. Let's continue in private discussions.